Okay, a modified question that we did in class. So a farmer must create a fence area with this is my fence space. Okay, and I have a total of 900 meters of fence. How do I maximize area? Okay, so my first task is to let A represent area, let W represent some dimension, width of rectangle, so W, and let L represent length of square or rectangle. I'll just say square. Square. So that's L, 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 and L. So what do I have here? So we have to make a few relationships. We have to make area, which is equal to, well, what's the area of this? That's length times width. Length times width plus length. This area right here is length times length. So that's length times length. Or we could say that this whole area here, this whole length is W plus L, and this whole area length here is L. So we could say that area equals L times W plus L. Now, if you notice, these two are actually the same thing, right? It's just that we factored it. We took the common factor of L and we factored it out. Anyway, we have our first relationship. We have to maximize area. Somehow we have to graph area relative to L or W. I'm not sure which one, but only one of them. And somehow we're going to get our maximum area. Our area depends on L or W, and somehow we're going to have to create an equation, a relationship, where it ends up being quadratic, and I'll be able to find the vertex, and that's my maximum area. But to do that, I need to represent my relationship. So how many L's are there? How does L relate to W? Well, how many L's are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 L's, right? And then 2 W's, that equals to 900. So now I can relate L to W by isolating for one of my terms. So let's try that. 900 minus 5L equals 2W. What did I do here? I just took this 5L, moved it to that side of the equal sign, switched the signs. Next, let's rearrange. 2W equals minus 5L plus 900. I just rearranged everything. Now we divide both sides by 2. What do I end up getting? I end up getting W equals minus 5 over 2L plus 900 divided by 2 is 450. Don't need Siri for that. Okay, so now that I have W, I have my W's equal to that. I can substitute it in my area so that I only have L's. So let's try that. Let's write it down. This is my first equation. This is my second equation. So I'm going to put 2 into 1. How does that work? So let's write 1. Area equals L. Anytime we see a W, we're going to replace it with this. So, open brackets, W. No, I have a W. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put in this value, minus 5 over 2 L plus 450 plus, that's my W, plus L. I get that from right here. Okay. Now I'm going to expand this out so it looks a little cleaner. So area equals, let's put L in brackets. Let's just solve whatever's in here. Okay. This becomes minus 5 over 2L plus 450 plus, now I'm going to have to add these L's together. So I'm going to say 2 over 2L, which is the same thing as 1L, right? So that way I can, why did I do that? So that I can add these fractions together. I could do minus 5 plus 2. Okay, let's do that in the next step. A equals L. Now I'm just joining my fractions. So I'm going to get minus 3 over 2L plus 450. My next step is to distribute this L to this and that. And it ends up being A equals minus 3 over 2L squared plus 450L. Okay, now I have area in terms of a quadratic function. If I was to graph it using Desmos, I'd see that I'd have some kind of a curve. I'm not sure where it'd be exactly, because it's not in vertex form. So the next step is to put it in vertex form so that we can see where the vertex is. Okay, how do we do that? By completing the square. First step, factor out 3 over 2, or minus 3 over 2. So minus 3 over 2. Okay, we have fractions this time. L squared. So what do we have to multiply 450 by? Sorry, what do we have to multiply 3 over 2 by to get 450? We're taking out 3 over 2 out of 450. That just means divide by 3 over 2. Okay, so let's see. Minus 300L. Now, let's see how that works. When we multiply 3 by 300, we get 900. 900 divided by 2 is 450. And then multiply this minus, I get a plus. So plus 450. So it looks like we got the right answer. Our next step is basically we have to add and subtract. We have to add and subtract some number. Whoops. We have to add and subtract some number that completes the square. So how do we do that? That's our C value. 300 divided by 2 squared, or C equals 150 squared. So let's do that. Plus 150 squared minus 150 squared. Okay. Our next step, basically we have a perfect square because we built it, right? This is the step we've been doing over and over again. That term actually ends up equaling L minus 150 square. I got that from that trinomial. And then minus 150 square, let's just leave it. A equals minus 3 over 2. Okay, so our next step is to basically distribute this to the first term and the next term. Basically, remove this out of the brackets. A equals negative 3 over 2 L minus 150 square, and then distribute this to that term. That's our step right now. Minus 3 over 2 times minus 150. That's times. This is a little bit complicated. I know this is going to confuse you guys. that minus 3 over 2 is going to be multiplied by minus 150 square. Now the 150 square only operates on this 150, not on the minus. If I was to operate on both, it'd be in brackets, but it's not. So just be careful with that. If you're going to use the squares and keep it, I mean, you might as well, I could have just expanded it out here if the square is going to confuse me. Okay, next step. What's 150 squared? This 22,500. By the way, this minus becomes plus over 3 over 2. So let's solve that.